Here with a YCC division of the US Open, cATLanta versus Colorado Cutthroat in this pool play game. And despite a rainy start to the US Open, the sun is out, there are few clouds, and it looks like it will shape up to be a pretty nice day of Ultimate. It's the 8 seed versus the 9 seed, and even coming into it, the seedings are very, very interesting here. A new team will automatically be seeded lower. Both of these teams have been competing at YCC, at least for the past few years each, and they will face off in this pool play game. And coming into it, the cATLanta team, they said it was a struggle with the summer schedule, and I think that's fairly common for most youth teams, their vacations and other commitments. So they really had to focus in, and they chose really focusing on defensive fundamentals, and they say that that's really their strength coming into this tournament, while this is an opportunity for them to work on their offensive chemistry coming from various high schools that have different styles, all coming together that way. And they definitely love the cat theme on their team as well, saying it's from Meowly Cyrus, once saying, "We cat stop, we won't stop." And just a lot of fun that really goes into that team. On the Colorado Cutthroat side, they went 1-1 yesterday and said that that's a good motivation coming into this second day of pool play. And, Colorado has several different larger cities, and they do have several players from Colorado Springs, which is about an hour and a half from Denver. However, they were able to get in a club tournament. They played at Fort Collins Summer Solstice with teams in the adult club division, and that's a difficult tournament, and they did win one game against an adult team. So they're really hoping to carry that momentum in. Yesterday, cATLanta lost to defending champions Warhawks out of North Carolina 13-2. And then they lost to California Current 13-7. Current also beat Cutthroat 9-8. And that's a number 17 seed, but their coaching staff has said that they have a lot of experienced players. It's just a fairly new team. Cutthroat did beat Hypnosis 9-4. So it will be an interesting matchup. You have cATLanta in the white and Cutthroat in the darks. And the first pull of the day is underway. Lots of float. And cATLanta quickly moving it to the far sideline, but a hand through the upline cut will get the disc to Cutthroat. Allison Liu looks for the end zone, but that is intercepted by Sierra Petrosh. Petrosh, one of several players on the team from Paideia, a school in Atlanta, known for a really growing ultimate program. And another huck, this time from cATLanta, and right at the last minute, the defense comes in. Allie Fridkin was the intended target. There's no call on the play. Disc goes back to Colorado. Grace Brown picks up. And overthrowing Lou. Fridkin letting her offense set up before picking up. Another huck that's hanging one-on-one, just goes a little bit too high. Petrosh made a great cut, but just not quite the execution. The rain clouds have passed for now, but it is still windy. I'd say probably around 10 miles an hour or so. And quick dish and a huck. If that can stay in bounds, the towing reach. It's from Gaskill. I think there's a little bit of discussion. So it'll be checked back in. Worked up the line. Allison Liu hoping to get to Gaskill. And first points of the game start with a break. Stacy Gaskill. Gaskill made the U20 team that will be competing in Canada this month. She deferred a year to go to CU Boulder because of snowboarding. She's also a competitive snowboarder and qualified for some high-level tournaments. So, Cutthroat starts off with a break. The hard cap is at 90 minutes in this round and games to 13. Otherwise, some other pools are doing games to 15 with 105 minutes to hard cap, I believe. But this pool has 5 teams in it instead of 4. So as a result, half will be at 7. The pole goes out probably just past where the brick mark would be. Checked in. Norton immediately puts up the huck. Kate Hubbard was the receiver, intended receiver. Just goes back to Cutthroat. There's Willick starting off. And another huck. Right off the bat, the hucks going in both directions seem to be trailing off to that far sideline. So another opportunity for cATLanta. But neither team afraid to put up the huck looks. That helps with field position. And a huck for huck. This one floating. There are defenders coming, and it bounced off of a few hands, but ends up falling to the ground. Put back into play by Colorado. Chott surveying the different options. She'll stick with the force side cut. And a one-handed grab right outside the end zone. Still not in, but Chott right on the goal line. Cutthroat looking for their second break. And the up the line cut, it floats, and despite a layout, incomplete. So floating back or flick is intercepted, but another possession change. That front right corner is a tough spot, but cATLanta manages to get it off the line right away. The continuation just not quite there. And diving grab. It is caught, going up the line, but intercepted. But the subsequent pass is incomplete. Both teams really having to stay on their toes as possession is changing back and forth. Chott is isolated in the end zone. She catches it, and that is a Cutthroat score. And a lot of discipline you can see from that Cutthroat end zone offense. After some quick turns back and forth, they were able to get into their offensive formation. Chott headed to College of Puget Sound this fall, a school that competed in D3 college championships this past spring, and often as well. They're a perennial power. So you can see that cATLanta really working through that offensive chemistry. And both teams with high-level coaches. You can see small batch, one of the small batch coaches, Candace Ye, one of the Cutthroat coaches, Candace Ye, she plays on Colorado Small Batch, a women's team in Colorado.
I got you! I got you!
So early on, Cutthroat is up 2-0. The pull barely lands out of bounds. cATLanta will walk it up to the brick mark. Allie Fridkin, the 16-year-old, another product of Padilla. It's that quick dish to Chandler. And cATLanta starting with some handler movement in the backfield, but a little short. Allison Liu gobbles that right up. And incomplete. Another shot for cATLanta. wastes no time with the huck. It's floating, running onto it, but on the second attempt, that is a goal. Sierra Petrosh. And her nickname on the team is Trash, presumably because she can catch things on the second attempt or whatever's not the first attempt. You can see that defensive tip, but Petrosh does not give up. That puts the first points on the board for cATLanta. Kayla Emmerich giving some coaching to this cATLanta team. Longtime Heist player, now lives in Atlanta and plays on Ozone, who is also a team in this, competing in this tournament, most recently at the World Ultimate Club Championships. Charlotte Cloud's the other coach we saw in the huddle. She is a coach at Paideia and captains Outbreak, another women's team in Atlanta. So kudos to both teams for not being afraid to use the deep space to get the day going. And not being afraid to throw deep has multiple benefits. One, even if it's incomplete when the other team picks up, they have further down the field to work it. You don't want to turn it over right by the other team's scoring end zone. And it forces the defense to play a little more honest. So Cutthroat O-line tracking it down with a little bit of a slip. It's caught. Willock swings it over to Peace, and they're working it across the field to back to Willock. Kim continues up the line. The disc is centered in the middle of the field, but incomplete. So now this is a possession opportunity for cATLanta. If they can score here, that'll be a break to tie it up. Up the line, throw, bounces off the fingers of Carrie Miller. Nice swing off the sideline to Willock. Continues, one-handed closing grab.
There we go.
Kim looks for the under. The throw was a little wide, gave the opportunity for the cATLanta D, Peyton Parker. And the huck is floating, and that is caught. Emma Jones not quite in, waits for her teammates to catch up. And I think decides to call a timeout. Wise decision. She didn't have a lot of options. The count was going to get high. You can see this fast break opportunity from cATLanta. Emma Jones, despite having 3 knee surgeries, is running in with great stride to read that huck so well. So a valuable end zone set for cATLanta. Try and get back one of the breaks. And this is the second year that the U.S. Open has included the International Club Division with the Youth Club Championships. Typically, or in the previously, the U.S. Open had the International Club Championships division only, and it was held around the beginning of July. But starting last year, USA Ultimate combined U.S. Open with combined the ICC division with the YCC division, and it really creates a wonderful space for adult players and youth players. Last night there was a gum ball where all of the YCC female identifying athletes were welcome to attend, as well as a lot of the high-level women's teams and some gum ambassador teams like AMP and Fury. And to see these girls interacting with some of their ultimate heroes was absolutely priceless for both parties. Disc checked back into play. A blade off of the sideline as the wind started to pick up. Incomplete. Cutthroat will now have to go the full 70. And that low grab, but is still caught up the line. Emery Smith, but she'll throw the continue, but that run through D is there from Carrie Miller.
Allison, tell him to go. Hey, go flat. Yeah, Carrie, yeah, Carrie.
So cATLanta, another chance with the break. Coming on the underneath. Snag up the line. Norton shoots it to the end zone, but it goes overhead. Jordak looking to maybe get it on the trailing edge, but disc goes back to Cutthroat. And Cutthroat is actually a native trout to Colorado. So it kind of a double, really tough word, as well as something from their native area. It's another huck, incomplete, but another chance for cATLanta. Get the disc back. Continuations underneath. Jones has that high blade. Carrie Miller is able to catch it. Continue it up line to Jordak. Norton on the sideline looking for her option. She'll find it in Miller. And some short passes up this near sideline has cATLanta in their red zone looking to get a break. And a pick is called. Norton with the disc for cATLanta. Using some handler activation and the end zone shot. And that goal is good. Lily Shevlin is the receiver. She started playing Ultimate 2 months ago, but is able to find that open spot as Norton has really nice angle on the disc. So that will tie it up early on, 2 points apiece. Let us know in the comments who you're cheering for, where you're tuning in from. It's neat to see people coming from all over. There are 88 teams competing in the YCC championships. There's girls, boys, and mixed. Girls and boys, and each one have a U17 and a U20. And if you talk to leaders in youth ultimate programs across the country, they'll tell you that middle school is really a great time for younger players to start picking up the disc. If you think about, most people if they have a sports background, when they first learned how to throw a baseball or a softball or a basketball or a football, a lot of times that's in elementary school, and students will have those fundamental skills while they're very malleable and young. So able to teach that in middle school at least gets a real heads up. And both of these communities with strong youth programs, Atlanta as well as Colorado and the Altitude Youth Ultimate program. So Cutthroat on offense. And there's the huck. But it curves a little too far to the left. Naveed was the intended target, but cATLanta with another chance to break. If they get this break, that will put the game back on serve. And they'll huck it right away. And right into the breadbasket, it's Katie Powell.
Hey guys, walk with them. Come on.
And Powell continues it to Dowd, but incomplete. Cutthroat back on offense. Line drive despite a dive. It is cATLanta disc. And some of that one-on-one defense forces the turnover, gives possession back to Colorado. Liu, move it up to Gaskell. And Gaskell shoots for the end zone. There's an open receiver and two open receivers. Gets the goal for Colorado. Gaskell gets into that power position. And just a nice flick. She has two options. Sails over first receiver, but Naveed gets the catch. So Gaskell showing her skill and experience with that huck throw. That'll give Colorado the lead, 3-2.
What's that? No one split the sideline. Hey, we did. Yeah. We did.
So this first half of pool play began yesterday. It will complete today, and then brackets will begin, completing with finals on Monday. And we will be live streaming much of the brackets in the various U20 divisions. It's cATLanta on offense. And Colorado has come into a zone look that requires a lot of swings back and forth. Will look over the top. Keeps the disc in possession, but there was a gust of wind right before that throw went off. Possibly affected its path a little bit, but success then for Colorado as they're now in their red zone. See an isolation in the end zone. 2 players go for it, but it goes through them. So now Atlanta trying to quickly work through the zone before it can get set up, but maybe a pass a little too quickly gets the disc to Colorado. If they score here, it's a chance to go up by 2 early on. They'll swing across. And cATLanta waiting a little bit to let the offense set up. They'll switch who's back at handler to pick up. Find a hole in the middle. Nice blade over the top, but intercepted. And a huck from Willick, but that is returned with an interception from Kate Hubbard. Intercepted back. Cutthroat, another chance to score. A flick into tight spaces, probably about 15 yards outside of the end zone. Around, through coverage. Back into play. Peace looks for the high throw to Houstis, but cATLanta disc. cATLanta doing a good job working it to find that middle spot, but then struggling with that next continuation. The end zone shot to Chott. That is the goal. And Colorado able to get the break. So Chott does a good job as soon as the disc is back in the hands of Colorado to make that cut to the back of the end zone, but at the same time, the thrower did well also to recognize that path of the disc. I believe that was Kyra Peace who threw the assist. Take Colorado, give them a 2-goal lead. It's the duel of the animal teams. Cutthroat, a trout, versus cATLanta, a cat. I feel like there's a cartoon somewhere that's about a cat trying to get to a fish. So Colorado to pull to cATLanta. Immediately centered. Working over to the far side. Levasseur over Pittman. Up the line. There's a power position for Fridkin. And went past two cATLanta receivers. Thought that maybe Katie Dowd, valiant effort to get it as it was going to the ground. Colorado disc. And the Huck is in the air, caught two hands, Lindsay Fuller. And she'll go to the end zone to find Carissa Lee. 15 years old. And Miller looks to see, does she need to dump it, but instead finds an open receiver. So that gives Colorado a 3-goal lead early on, 2 points away from half. Cutthroat coach Lindsay Cross, longtime player on Molly Brown, retired a few years ago. But also brings a lot of experience. And that is a common theme. You'll see the coaches for these YCC teams, many of them with really stunning coaching and playing experience, looking to pass that along to the next generation. It's also wonderful to see players who played in the YCC division back competing at the US Open, this time in the ICC division. Some YCC teams even have players who are not playing with their club teams at US Open because they're playing with YCC. Shows the caliber of youth players now in the sport. So Cutthroat, isolation play in the middle. They'll continue up the line, floats overhead, intercepted. And Cutthroat with the Huck. It falls before it can get to the receiver. Stall getting high, so Huck is up, but that's caught. Hubbard continues with the next deep look. Despite coming back to it, Shovelin can't quite get there. Cutthroat working it near sideline. Flick Huck. 2 receivers to choose from. And a quick put from the 2 Cutthroat teammates to give them a 4-goal lead. And Lou had such great form on her flick. That first, it goes to Duran, and she's not quite in, so she'll continue that pass. So Cutthroat taking advantage of break opportunities early in this first half. I guess probably midway through the first half, really.
I thought it was going to go up over my head. I thought it was going to go up over her, and she moved and I cut back. I was trying to beat her to it. No, that was a good read. Like, most people can't read stuff like that, and they, like, keep going one way. Have you guys ever been to a horse camp? Yeah. I feel like when... Yes, Sarah! I'm talking to you!
So half is at 7. It's a game to 13. The time you see on the clock is the time to hard cap. Soft cap comes on about 20 minutes before. The wind seems to have died down a little bit. Of course, as I say that, it starts to gust again. And run through D right away. The wind definitely picking up more. Colorado working it in the backfield. Right through the hands of a couple different receivers. Receiver is open. She had to turn over to her other shoulder, Carrie Miller, to find it, but even then the disc was moving really fast. That's a hard disc to read.
I like sounded insane. I was like, I could over. But the worst is when it goes over your head, because that 1 second you can't see it. Like, you have to just like whip around. Yeah, carry on!
And a diving catch to keep the possession alive. Cutthroat with the full length of the field to go. Annie Kim on the far sideline. Nice angle on the disc. She was looking for Gaskell. So cATLanta with the opportunity to go within 3, using a lot of straight cuts and working it up the far side. Some contact at the catch.
Yes, Carrie! Yes, Peyton, yes!
Carrie Miller, one of set of twins on the team. She and her sister, Colleen, are both in a band called Hot October. As despite the layout, bid, the disc is now Colorado's. And the disc is floating in the end zone, trails away. Players not afraid to get the bids. So cATLanta, the chance that huck, it's hanging and just falls before Liv Cohen is able to reach it.
That's right, Liv. That's right, Liv. Hey, good job, Peyton.
Gaskill, far sideline, looking for that next throw. It ends up the line, approaching the red zone. And last minute attempt, Gaskill comes back to the disc to catch it. That is another break for Colorado, and will be enough for them to take half. And Gaskill had turned away, but then comes back to see, oh, the disc is up. I better go get it, and she does. So Cutthroat taking advantage of actually coming out ahead of the long points that we've had in the game so far. They lead cATLanta 7-2. See parents with their Colorado pride. That mom was waving the flag in the end zone proudly. We'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll hear from the Colorado coaching staff. Back at the half, Colorado Cutthroat leading cATLanta 7-2. I'm here with Cutthroat coach Lindsay Cross. Lindsay, Cutthroat came out pretty strong in this first half.
Yeah.
And both teams, though, not afraid to really use that deep game.
Yeah, definitely. We're actually forcing cATLanta to throw deep. One of the focuses we're working on this morning is taking away all the unders and force them to go deep. We know we have good deep defenders that can go run down the disc, and we know we have good help defenders. So we're kind of working through that system of forcing them deep and then having someone deep back there to come get the D.
How is the zone then that you guys threw kind of really helped with that game plan?
Yeah, definitely. I always love to throw something wacky a couple points in. Sorry, spoiler alert for whoever's playing us later. It just really messes with the flow of teams that love to throw deep. So just forcing them to swing the disc a little more and throw a lot of throws is something that really slows down their deep game.
And then on the offensive side, we've had some long points, but what do you think has really been successful for you all to be able to convert those breaks?
I think playing a lot of long points. We have had lots of long points, not just this tournament, but other tournaments we've been to in the summer. And we know what it takes to grind it out and keep playing and making sure that we calm down. Because one of the things with these girls is they get very excited. They're like, we have to convert this, we have to convert it now. But they've learned to calm down a bit, and especially close to the end zone, take a breath, make sure everything's set up, and then convert.
So moving into the second half, what do you say to the team to keep composed but that intensity up to close it out?
Yeah, so we're going to keep playing our intense defense. They really get fired up by playing really intense defense, so we'll keep doing that. And also on the offensive side, we have been amazed. We've seen stuff like swinging that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's finally starting to click. And so we want them to keep doing that and live off of a dump swing set. And I think that will, on the offensive side, calm things down a bit and keep them even for the rest of the game.
It's great to see things that you're working on kind of come together.
Exactly.
They're listening.
That's why you coach, for those moments where you're like, oh, they get Frisbee. It's great.
Well, good luck in the second half. Lindsay Cross, Colorado Cutthroat, they lead cATLanta 7-2.
Thank you very much.
Training camp is in Illinois, so we have 7 days in Illinois, and then 7 days in Illinois. Oh no. I can get it. Is there something you need in it? And then we get it. Yeah, it's like straight six. Bum 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 bum. That was such a jam, dude. I freaking love that. Oh my god, we're Sky Store.
Welcome back. Colorado Cutthroat coming to a commanding lead in the first half. They're 5 goals ahead of cATLanta. Emmy Fitzgerald coming to you. 9:25 local time from Blaine, Minnesota. We're about 40 minutes northwest of Minneapolis. At the U.S. Open in the YCC Youth Club Championship Division. cATLanta, the team in white. Cutthroat, the team in the charcoal gray. And some long points to start the game, but both teams working really hard. Lots of passes, both not afraid to bid and leave their feet. The fields are very conducive for laying out, since the fields are built on kind of a platform because of the irrigation system. So it's, I wouldn't say cushiony is a little bit of an overstatement, but it gives a little more of a cushion, so a little easier on the joints. So the pull is up for the second half of play. Liu immediately shoots deep, looking for her teammate. It's caught, and Cutthroat is approaching the red zone. Centers back to Liu. Liu takes the end zone shot, and with 3 passes, that's converted to get the 8th point on the board for Cutthroat. Liu working that every other. She's headed to Colorado University in the fall. Houstis was the eventual goal catcher. So cATLanta will get the disc back on offense. Yeah, what was supposed to be a weekend full of rain and thunderstorms had some rain and 15 minutes of lightning delay on Friday, but the weather really cleared out last night for the adult finals, and currently it's pretty clear and sunny, temperature rising to about 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Pull lands at about the brick mark. And the hook right away. That is completed. Petrash throws the backhand, and another quick score. Sarah Jordak is the receiver. So both teams going in the same direction, using few throws in their first points apiece of the second half. Cutthroat still with the 5-goal lead. It's a game to 13. Soft cap is about 10 minutes or so away.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to like kick it low. That's good for your knee, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably great for your knee.
So for our live stream coverage, we're in pool play now, and then we'll move into brackets later today. Both teams hoping for favorable position. That first swing is overthrown, gives cATLanta the opportunity to show some of their defensive strengths. Now, approaching a break opportunity, Norton picks up. That high release backhand is intercepted. And without hesitation, thrown to Friedman. Friedman waiting for the right reset as her teammates catch up. Peace looking for the reset, but another overthrow. Norton throws to Dowd through coverage, but Dowd catches it with 2 hands. She'll reset it to Norton. And Norton really working as the every other on this point, as cATLanta is looking for those short continuations, try and get back the break. But with really tight defense from Cutthroat, a hand block, but it's still completed. Continue up the far sideline. The shot to the end zone and a layout, but maybe a finger's length too far out. Norton taps it in. She's being forced to the far sideline. She'll break the mark. So Cutthroat calling to get into their end zone formation. Annie Kim will walk it up. And to the front cone is Friedman, but they can't quite get the connection. Another nice break around, but incomplete. Cutthroat trying to balance, being speedy, getting to the disc, but also letting the offense set up. This time it completes. That's a goal for Cutthroat. Can see the nice fake cut from the cutter to the break side. and that's enough to get her defender to go with her. Because a lot of times the initiation cut, the thrower is looking for that break side first look. The most importantly, you get your defender to commit. Then you find spacing. Friedman, 15 years old. So cATLanta showing good offensive flow, and their teammates are going to the right spots, but just a little bit mistimed. Maybe throws are a little too early or a little too late. So Cutthroat regains their 6-goal lead. The pull goes to about the brick mark. cATLanta picking up Hubbard. It's actually Friedkin, but incomplete. Cutthroat was looking deep, but will instead reset close by. Cutthroat able to hang on to it with that one-handed snag, just shy of the end zone. A chance to get double digits in the game. Coming with 2 hands is CC Kim. That's the 10th point for Colorado Cutthroat. So Cutthroat with a 7-point lead. It is a game to 13, so they're 3 away. Denver women's team Molly Brown came over to the Cutthroat sideline yesterday, and it was a real pump up for these Cutthroat players. I mean, what a thrill to see such a strong team like Molly Brown playing in the semifinals today. And they're playing in the YCC division. And the Cutthroat coaching staff said, you know, then Molly Brown coming to cheer them on kind of gave them that extra oomph to play a little bit more.
Where are they playing?
Of course, Ozone from Atlanta is also here as well, and they definitely are supportive of this cATLanta team.
Let's go, Stacy! Yeah, Stacy, let's go! Let's go, Stacy! Let's go! Yeah, Stacy! Go, Stacy! Great pull! Hey, get down the door! Come on,
The pull goes nearly the full field.
Go!
And Cutthroat is in their zone, an A zone look. It looks slightly different from what we saw earlier. Oh, cATLanta working the swings, trying to find those openings in the middle. Currently, only 2 handlers back on cATLanta. The call, it'll check it back in. cATLanta having a lot of patience, going those swings through. And a huck in the air. Many times zones like the one Colorado put in place are designed to do that. Lots of swings back and forth, and then forcing a big look with a hope that the defense can get under it. But the Colorado throw is intercepted. Powell has the disc. She'll reset it to Pittman. They find an opening to Miller. And intercepted. It's another huck, but a few bobbles incomplete to Lou. So it looks like Colorado has transitioned to a person defensive look. Through the middle, but a hand block on the release. Colorado disc. Layout bid. Katie Powell reading that so well to get the possession back to cATLanta. Miller with the underneath look, trying to find the next best shot. She'll go to the end zone. Intercepted. So Lou, big shot. She finds Gaskill. Gaskill will reset it to Lou, and looking for that pizza box pass, and being able to convert is Colorado Cutthroat. They get the break. Soft cap should be on now, but it will still be a game to 13. So Gaskill and Lou commanding work. But really great pressure. You saw a run through D and some interceptions and working it with the handlers and cutters from cATLanta.
I don't know if there's anything left in it, but you can have it. This looks like Colorado.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Just excited for our next game. We get to go watch semis after this, though, which is awesome.
So Colorado will pull.
I'm so happy you guys are here. We'll see you at the tournament next year. Yeah, you'll be playing with Molly next year, yeah? Well, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be here.
So cATLanta work the unders right away. Through that coverage, and they are nearly at their red zone. And looking for the score, but the defense was very close. So Cutthroat with the chance to get to 12. That far sideline is difficult, and a D is there, gives cATLanta the disc back. So Colorado will work it up. The disc has stayed in nearly about a 5-yard radius for the past probably 3 possessions. Cutthroat able to break free. The floating huck is good. McClellan will continue that. And the end zone shot, one-on-one. Nice read from Genevieve Rayland. And Colorado able to work it out to come within 1 of the score of the game. Really good read from Raylan. She saw where the disc was going to end up, so adjusted to get there. So Cutthroat within 1. Megan Kiefer headed to Colorado State University in the fall, number 29 you saw on the screen. So here's the pull. cATLanta on offense. Emma Jones looks over to Petrosh. Petrosh straight back to Jones. Petrush has been playing since the 7th grade. And there's the huck. It's floating and floating, and the layout bid is good. Sarah Jordak has tracked it all the way in. Not afraid to leave her feet. She keeps her head up, an eye on the disc. Starts with 2 hands, but just needs 1. Sarah Jordak, when asked for a fun fact to share on the broadcast, told us she has eaten a termite. I've eaten a cricket, and kind of tasted like if you have the shrimp tail. I cannot say that I have eaten a termite before. So cATLanta gets their 4th goal of the game. Cutthroat will have the disc on offense. If they score here, that is game over. We are 9 minutes to hard cap.
Oh, yeah, that's what they have under
Really nice pull from cATLanta. Lots of float. Centered, Cutthroat. Through coverage. Kim catches it. She'll continue that. Quick dishes from Cutthroat to get into that power position. They're trapped on the sideline, and that's a block from Chandler. Chandler will pick it up for cATLanta for an opportunity to get a break and stay alive in this game. So cATLanta working it up the far sideline. High release is good. There's the end zone shot, and it was an athletic catch, but the receiver is slow to get up. Katie Powell gets up. She does not look like she will take an injury. Disc is checked back in. cATLanta on the goal line. A chance to break, to stay alive, and incomplete. Cutthroat back with the offensive possession. That huck, despite coming back to it, the receiver is not able to catch it. cATLanta picks up right away, understanding the urgency of the situation, but incomplete, goes back to Cutthroat. Cutthroat with the huck. Emery Smith doing a good job to read it to come back, but incomplete. cATLanta disc. And shooting for the end zone. It lands out of bounds.
I love listening to her. Oh, I know.
So disc goes back to Cutthroat. Cutthroat looking for the opportunity to close out the game, but cATLanta not making it easy for them. Colorado walk it up to where the disc went out of bounds. And the deep shot is floating through the coverage is Kim, and she shoots the next goal, no good. cATLanta is trying to keep it alive. That's up and caught. Katie Powell continues. Parker has the shot. Can Powell get to it? And she bids, but cannot hang on to the disc. Cutthroat, the swing is no good. That'll give it to cATLanta in the red zone. A chance to break. They tap it in, isolation, but the pass is incomplete. Strike up the line. She has to leave her feet, but gets it. Continuing on. And a run-through block from cATLanta. A misconnection gives the disc back to Colorado. Caught, swing, looking for that continuation. Tight spaces, but completed. The next is no good. A timeout called on the field. What's turning into a long point. 2 minutes away from the hard cap. Even if the hard cap technically goes off in this point, it doesn't really go, it's not affected until the next point. So either this will be the last point if Colorado can get the disc back and score, or the next point will likely be the final one if Atlanta is able to hold. This is actually going to be the last point, no matter what. So even if Atlanta scores, it is game over. I think the situation I previously described as if it was one team was down by one, which is not the case. So the teams playing a rousing game of heads up in between. heads up a game where you lock arms and people count 3, 2, 1, and you bring your head up. And if you make eye contact with somebody else in the circle, you're both out. But you can't cheat and bring up and make eye contact in between two people. That's not fair. But if you bring up your head after the 3, 2, 1 and you are looking at someone who is not looking directly back at you, you stay in. Disc back in. cATLanta looking for the end zone. Incomplete. So cATLanta checks it back in. It is a difficult corner. And a little bit of a trip and fall. cATLanta with the layout grab. That is a goal for cATLanta. And the teams are lining up. Colorado Cutthroat defeats cATLanta 12-5 in the pool play action. YCC Youth Club Championships, part of the US Open. Both teams with very athletic play, a lot of grit to not give up through multiple possession points. In the end, Cutthroat able to convert more times. This live stream was produced by Fulcrum Media, presented by USA Ultimate. I'm Emmy Fitzgerald. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.